Sunday, May 15th. It's in the morning. I'm hoping I can do this in less than 30 minutes, only because I have a presentation that I need to keep practicing for. For Project Survive. A couple of things. I realized that the video that posted, was it yesterday? One of these days. I think it was yesterday. Or the day before yesterday, maybe. Was when I'm talking about that my cousin recommended this program, these courses for me to take. And me realizing that, yeah, it was yesterday, 14th. And then me being here, at the end of the road for that chapter. My final for that class is next week, but we're doing a presentation today, which will jumpstart the next chapter for me as a volunteer, officially, formally. But so I thought that was, neat synchronicity or coincidence, right? The cycles. That the video is me just considering it and in the process of reaching out. And now I'm at the end. The other coincidence that I realized was that the video that posted this morning, having deformed body parts, or private parts rather, chapter 45, episode 3, I'm actually, I listened to it again. I hadn't listened to it. And again, I even though I was running late in posting these, I've been a little sleep deprived, so I haven't really been paying attention. So I still rewatch it one more time before it's about to post to make sure that my content, the writing, matches where I was in that point of time and or a realization that I have in my current timeline. And it just so happened that I think I recorded a little bit on it in regards to the dreams of it was about the private parts, but it was the 3 scenes, the 3 homes, and me realizing, right, that I think it might be this progression of the environment of my home, growing up, my childhood home, and this awareness that it used to be very lively. Like I remember it being very lively as a young child, but when people were starting to leave, it seemed more run down and there were more issues that were starting to come up. And then the 3rd scene where my brother is trying to put drywall and it's like maggots or just so like this indication, right, of the breakdown of this household. And but the other part that I didn't have a connection to until yesterday was the little girl. I listened to it again, and it wasn't until last night or early this morning that I made the connection that well, because that video posted today, that's why, because I listened to it, and I listened to that last part, and I hadn't completely watched all of it. So at the final scene, I'm talking about a teenage girl, blonde hair, and she's holding herself, right? And you could tell, I could feel her desire to be seen, to be independent from these men in her life that were controlling her to a certain degree, and that I was in this truck really, with her dad, who seemed to be her dad. And then 2 nights ago, or yet last night, I had that dream of that little girl. That was the last scene that I remember. Blonde hair, she was a little chubby, maybe, I want to say like 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old. And she was coming to see me, and I knew she was coming to see me, like I was a part of her routine because I knew she didn't have a mom. And how I just opened my arms up, and just allowed her to, cuddle in. And I knew she was going to tell me about her day, and then I could see her dirty toes because she'd been playing. And I wondered, is this the same little girl, just only that I just saw her before as a teenager, young adult, trying to get out of a situation. So I thought that was interesting because I hadn't made that connection before. The other connection, and this is for a video that we'll post 2 nights from now, is for Chapter 45, Episode 5, having the awareness of being groomed. And I'm sitting with that awareness that I was groomed, and and I'm listening to myself struggling as I'm trying to extend my experience outside of me. And I put this in the write-up. I write, as I try to extend my experience outside of me, reflecting on other people who may have experienced something similar in their life, I am trying to figure out this concept of blaming. In this moment, which was then, I don't feel anger anymore. Am I blocked, or is this healed? What justifies blame, and how does this fit with the information that I am learning about everything being purposeful and me co-creating with the universe? How can I sit here and say that I asked for this? Is it possible that I didn't know I was co-creating in that time of my life? Is it possible that if everything is purposeful, the unwanted experience of violence is an opportunity to heal in such a way that creates expansion for oneself and society? Without the pain, we don't shift and desire something different. For example, if I'm overweight and uncomfortable, it only motivates me to change and work out. I know this is a light example, but can I apply it to the extreme of violence? Violence causes pain and loss and discomfort, enough for one to desire something better for oneself and for humanity, right? In terms of the marches, it's a different type of violence, right? A type of control. Am I wrong here, or am I trying to justify something that is unjustifiable? I'm clearly still trying to find my way as I heal what is being triggered. So that was prompted from that initial, right, review. But I was sitting with it as I was preparing this presentation for Project Survive, in terms of like memorizing the script and being comfortable with the language and how to explain certain things. And it got brought up again, and I was reflecting on this. I'm calling her my friend, but she's really more than a friend. And should only have 3 minutes. And I was sitting with her phone call, and how I think she assumed that I needed her because she had and that's one of the things that I was trying to clarify, was why did she call me in the first place? And she said, well, I saw the signs to call you, and so I did, and I worry. So I think she thought I might have needed her, or needed something of her, because even in our conversation, there was a moment where I think she realized that I wasn't in the same level of distress as she was, and that she wasn't there to comfort me. And because I heard her do, and I could just see her, for whatever reason in that moment, I just saw her doing this. Like she had this awareness. She was mistaken as to why she was led to call me. And realizing that I was the initiator of her pain, right? This in being the initiator of pain. I sat with that for a little bit, because I was trying to think, the way she was talking was leading me to believe that I should be owning some type of guilt over this experience. And that's the impression that I got. And she was talking about forgiving me, and I'm just like, I never asked for forgiveness, because I don't feel the need to be forgiven. I apologize. I did apologize to her when I first told her that I apologized for hurting her. But I don't regret my experience, and I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't. And I felt the need to tell her that after the fact. So I sent her a message, and I said, I'm sitting with our conversation. I'm sitting with your words, trying to remember what you said, what I said, and the impression that was left on me, and how I was shocked, really, because I had already kind of resolved this, and realizing, I realized that I've had longer to process this than you have. However, I want you to know that I do not regret what I did. I don't. I don't regret it. I appreciate it. I even love it, because without it, I would not know what I know. I wouldn't have learned the lessons that I needed to learn and explore this part of myself and learned more about my own desires and wants. And so I don't regret it. And I said, and I wanted to make sure, because there was almost this unspoken expectation of our relationship, and I wanted to make sure I clarified it, because she kept saying, well, it's going to take me a long time, or it's going to take me time to trust you again. And I'm just like, well, wait a minute. I didn't know we were still going to, connect. I had already said goodbye. And so that's when I clarified. I said, I want you to know that you are more than welcome to reach out to me, but I will not initiate reaching out to you, because I realized we really have nothing in common. Our values are not the same anymore. And even before that, I realized I never was really the initiator in our interactions. She was always seeking me out. If I sought her out, it was because of the mutual connections that we had for planning activities. But it wasn't initially, because what I noticed in our relationship was that every time we hung out, it was always about her. It was unbalanced. Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learned to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.